Hey everybody, happy 4th of July, and thank you for stopping by to the very first episode of Calamity Canteen. This is Uprising from Meta Hunters, and as I just recently said, well, shoot, happy 4th of July everybody. For those of you that celebrate it in the United States, and to anybody across the world, cheers. Cheers everybody. Happy to have you on board. Thank you for stopping by to come and watch this slight talk show slash video new project and whatnot. This will be pretty much a new series where I can, sit down, talk to you guys, let's have a good time, get to, pour out your favorite drink, be that be a Guinness, a brandy, Bacardi, whatever you're into, or if you're a real man, orange juice over ice is a very good drink in the middle of the night, or early morning, whichever you prefer. But, yep. This is just a new kind of video series where I can get to sit down, talk to you guys for a little while, get to talk about various different subjects, anything Monster Hunter related, or just anything that really comes to mind, get to know about us, the people behind Meta Hunters, the brand, and maybe a little bit more about myself. So with that being said, let's just get right into it, guys. First and foremost, thank you so much for the incredible support you guys have given. I truly could not have been more blessed. I don't think me or my wife could be more blessed to have such an incredible audience. Again, this channel started in 2013 of January, and the very first time we touched Monster Hunter was kind of on a whim. I played Monster Hunter way back in the day. I'm an old school HR20 from Monster Hunter 1. That's the only time I've ever fully maxed out the rank in Monster Hunter, but that was my original rank, which was an HR20, and I've been playing the series on and off for a little while, but when I got to revisit Monster Hunter 1, it was just a fantastic time, and ever since then, like I said, I kind of rehashed this statement a little bit. The video series just blew up, and I never expected it to. Kind of came at an interesting time because Monster Hunter 3U or 3 Ultimate was, literally just around the corner, and that brought a huge new generation of hunters together. And it's just fantastic to see. So coming from myself being a little bit more the old school, I got to see Monster Hunter develop over the years. I did get to play 2 back in the day through a friend who lived over in China, specifically Shenzhen, and he just so happened to have a Japanese console and just so happened to have MH2 DOS, so I did get to play that, but didn't make it far. Kinda played Freedom Unite. Actually, I put a good amount of time in Freedom Unite, I can't even lie. Didn't play Freedom 1 or 2 too much, so I kinda skipped over them a little bit. Got to play Portable Third, once that came out a little bit, and just been, playing Monster Hunter every now and then. It's been it's a huge passionate project, and it was just something that blew up, that I never expected it to. And the video series was featured, still to this day it's featured on Monster Hunter. Some of the videos are featured on Monster Hunter Wiki, and then some of the videos are actually featured in IGN. I believe the video was called 20 Years of Dragon Slaying. The Rathalos segment is still there, and it's still featured, and I still go uncredited, or it still goes uncredited. This channel, our channel, still goes uncredited to this day. Thanks, IGN. The wife kept tabs on that video for years just to see if they would give us credit, and they never did. But hey, here, no harm, no foul. This is what it is. But I've been playing Monster Hunter on and off since then. In fact, I got my wife into Monster Hunter during 3 Ultimate, and she never looked back. In fact, I still remember that day because I actually went and got her a 3DS Ultimate with the game, and I believe Dead or Alive also, the one for the 3DS at the time. And she got into it a little bit. I forgot what monster we were fighting, but she was like, oh man, I think it was Lagombi, and she was like, this is so hard, I don't think I can do this, but she stuck with it, and she's kind of a better hunter than even me. So I guess the teacher, the student becomes the master at some point, but it's really awesome. So Monster Hunter is a series that myself and the wife love, and we came back and we really wanted to expand upon the channel and everything, and that's kind of where we are today. We're going through Monster Hunter World. Iceborne is going to be starting next week. I'll get into more details about that, and you know, Altreon is going to be released also next week. So there's a lot of things going on in Monster Hunter, in the Monster Hunter universe. I think, you know, there's Riders. They just announced that they're going to be focusing on a more kid-friendly, like very kid-focused Monster Hunter themed game, which I'm very excited to see. My wife loved playing stories. She thought it was an excellent game. I didn't play stories all too much, but anything that's very, very similar to Pokemon is great when you mix the two. So, but for the topics of tonight, we're going to be going through. I got some questions to answer. You guys were very, very thoughtful. Thank you to everybody that's been leaving the comments. We definitely have a lot of updates to give as to the direction of the channel, where everything is going, the business and everything, kind of just how we're planning to take the channel into the next decade, and go from there. And just, you know, fun topics and conversation pieces. So first and foremost, I will give some life updates on myself. For those of you that don't know, I am a father. Well, actually, before I even do that, I'm going to show you guys this little outfit here. So I didn't realize that you can change the color pigment on armors until like late game. Until I think it was just before episode 26. I didn't realize you could change the pigments of armors, and here we are. This is the official the official Meta Hunters color themed. The hex. I can give anybody the hex colors if they want them, but it's basically like a dark navy blue with a very light green. And props to you if you know where this coloration is from. The logo is also the very same color green. I love mixing blue and green colors. I'm a very big fan of different flag designs around the world and just different colorations, military ranks, stuff like that. I'm kind of not an aficionado per se, but I do like styling just a little bit. So this is the official Xenojiva or Xenojiva armor set. And again, this is the official kind of coloration. By the way, view mode is awesome. You guys are going to be seeing view mode in the official trailer for Iceborne that will also be releasing next week. But here you go. Here's some nice shots. View mode is awesome, by the way. People do not take advantage of this. I don't like the fact that you constantly have to deal with the Capcom text down there, but I understand copyright, IP reasons and everything else, trademarks and whatnot. I completely understand that. So I know what they were going for. But let's get back to the table and let's pop a drink here real quick. Delicious. So, where was I? So, for those of you guys that don't know, hi, my name is, well, I guess you can say formally Uprising, but we can still say Uprising of Meta Hunters. That makes sense. For those of you old school followers, you guys will know. But if you know, you know. So, for those of you guys that don't know, I'm currently 28 years old. I've done quite a few different jobs or job/careers in my life, and I bounced around just a little bit, not too much. For the most part, if I land a job, I tend to stay with it for at least 3 years at the lowest, but most likely between 4 and 5. And right now, I currently work for the state that myself and the missus currently reside in. And we had our firstborn son. He's currently about a year and almost 5 months. She's gonna kill me if she sees this video, but I want to say it was like a year and 5 months. Time flies, oh my god. But I'm a young father, and life changed drastically. Time to do videos and everything else like that just became very difficult, I will say. So I don't know how we're remaining as consistent as we are, but you know, life just knows how to throw challenges at you time and time again, and it's quite something else. But I would not trade it for the world. Being a father and being a parent is something that I feel everyone should do. Yeah, cheers to that. I truly feel like everyone should be a parent and experience a truly beautiful experience, especially when you are with a loved one. Like, a man loves one woman his entire life. He may date and he may have some flings here and there, but you know, once we find our true partner in crime, for the lack of a better term, there's just nothing better. And I can assure all of you single gentlemen out there, seriously, have a child. I plan on having a little girl. Hopefully I can get a little girl next, but between 2 and 3 kids I think is our sweet spot. But right now I work for the state that we reside in, and fortunately, unfortunately, I'm getting close to the age of 30, and I have to really start to settle down into a full set career path that is really going to develop over time. The one that I currently am in, I do have a nice pension, I do have the benefits, and I do have a lot of things that most jobs kind of don't. I mean, they do and they kind of don't, just depends on what field you're in. But ever since I came back home from teaching English in China, this is what I landed, and I could not have been happier. I love it. But the state that myself and the missus, we reside in the Northeast United States, and the Northeast is very expensive, and it's got a very high, fast-paced style of life, in which case it's we live to work, not work to live, if that makes sense. So how it works is, for those of you guys that are outside the United States, the southern style of life is very calm. It's a lot more slow paced, and the Northeast is very high paced. We're very about the money. We're very, just that kind of living that fast lifestyle. And West Coast is very similar. Midwest is interesting. I've been well around the United States, and I can say Midwest is probably the most interesting because it's really a mixed bag. If you're living in Chicago, it's very fast paced, and if you're living in Minnesota, it depends on where you are. But Wisconsin is kind of like in the middle. I think they have it perfect. Kansas City and Kansas, same thing. But unfortunately, life is getting very expensive, and unfortunately, we sat down, we had a talk, and we're thinking now about settling down, but trying to figure out where we're going to be settling down for the next decade of our lives. And we ultimately decided that we're going to eventually be relocating out of the Northeast, most likely down south USA, because it's just cheaper, it's way more affordable to be living in, and job opportunities and just different career paths are still very viable down south. It really just depends. I mean, the state we're looking at currently is Texas, but we're also looking at, West Coast, Arizona. I probably want to say that's probably the only state we're looking at west, because West Coast unfortunately is expensive too. But Arizona, Texas, South Carolina, maybe Alabama. We're just looking all around, because I'm the main provider, and I love it. I think the husband should be the main provider of the family, but obviously we live in different times, and nowadays in the United States, most families have a father and mother that both work. And when we had our son, I didn't want it to be like that. I wanted my wife to be able to just stay home, not worry about too much. She just, be the woman of the household. She can run the household how it is, because that's kind of like how I was raised. I was raised in a Spanish household, and Pops was never around, for reasons. He was never around, so I was raised mainly by my grandmother and my mother. And my mother worked like she was in the medical field, so she had she had her internship. I'd see her maybe in the morning before I went to school for like 10 minutes, and then I wouldn't see her until I went to bed, literally. So grandma, or abuela, was the main disciplinary. Same with grandpa too, but grandma for sure. So I was raised through a woman's perspective, but I will never change that for the world. It kind of made me into the man that I am today. But I wanted the missus to be able to, kind of just sit down and be a woman. Just enjoy that. I can honestly speak from different, just from dating all different kinds of women from many different ethnical backgrounds, that there's not a woman on this earth, I feel very confident saying this, there's not a woman on this earth that would ever trade up being a mother. If you told them you could be anything, they would probably say being a mother, because there's just no other feeling. So, gentlemen, find yourself a nice woman is what I'm trying to say. But that's kind of where we're at in life, which means I'll be making essentially what this means is I'll be making one final career change. Hopefully this will be at least hopefully my final career change, unless I can get a transfer, which may be likely. I'm not too sure. Maybe I can just lateral transfer to a different department down south. But we'll see, because like I said, I'm tied to the state that we're currently residing in, but unfortunately the taxes are just getting ridiculous. For those of you that don't know, I will not say the state, but I will say that I live in the most, probably either the most or the second most taxed state in the Union. So in other words, I'm taxed on everything. My pension's taxed, health insurance is taxed, like everything is taxed. Think about it, real estate, property taxes, whatever. I'm taxed on virtually everything, and it's just not worth it to put up with that kind of hassle. But you know, you're a hop, skip, and a jump away from the heavy metropolitan areas. You got access to quite a lot of things. It's beautiful. I loved living here, but it looks like it's going to be time to move on pretty soon. So now, how this will affect the channel, I don't think it's going to affect it too much. It's just a matter of figuring out when we're going to be moving. We are boiling it down to like a 1 to 3 year period. So somewhere in these next 3 years, I'll be relocating to a different state, which will be very interesting to say the least. Because right now, with the entire pandemic situation going on, it's like can't really go anywhere as it is. So we're kind of just trying to wait it out and see how everything plays out. And we're hoping everybody is going to be, you know, we hope everyone in the entire world is going to be doing fine. Many families have been affected by the pandemic, and it's only just getting worse and worse as time goes on. So here's hoping that all of us together, country differences, political differences aside, hopefully we all pull out of this together. And I hope you guys over there, you meta hunters, are doing just as well. So please continue to stay safe. Try to limit going out as much as you can. But for us in the United States, like I said, unfortunately, we have to keep working. I'm an essential employee. Again, I work for the state, and there's quite a few people I know that are in the exact same boat. So try to be safe, guys. No matter if you're in retail or whatever field you currently are occupied in, just be safe. Do your due diligence. Wash your hands. Sanitizer. Everything. Try to follow the code, for the lack of a better term. So that's definitely something that's going to be coming up within the next 1 to 3 years, and it's going to be exciting times. It really is, and I'm looking very much so forward to it. So hopefully, I don't know if you guys are, we did a poll a few weeks ago, maybe it was a month ago, where we asked where a majority of the audience, where a majority of you guys are from, and we got a lot of different mixed answers. Obviously the United States, happy to see my fellow Americans, good to see you guys, but obviously there was a huge, I can't remember the numbers, but it was a huge influx of everyone from the European Union, or just different European countries. That's incredible to see. Some of you guys were from Russia, and then a couple of you guys were mentioning you're from South America, so like Chile, Colombia, Peru. Awesome. It's amazing to me just how much gaming can unite people of all different cultures and ethnical backgrounds and everything. I think that's incredibly awesome, and yeah, I'm just thankful. I mean, that when we did that poll, we weren't expecting. I think Europe actually was the biggest or the largest contributor to that poll, so shout outs to all you guys, all you, just everybody in Europe. I mean, there's just so much different ethnicities in Europe in its entirety, so I can't boil it down to like a specific term. I can't say like the Australians or like the Aussies or like the New Zealand Kiwis. I can't say that, but thank you guys so much. So actually, let's go ahead and get to some questions here. So one thing I will bring up is that one of the recent polls we did was asking, would you guys prefer the ultra wide 4K experience, which now with the new PC rig I'm able to do. We're more than happy to do videos and everything in 4K, but a lot of you guys, in fact 29 votes, oh my god, 29 votes came in. 93% of you guys said the 1080 by 1080 with 60 FPS is the way to go. You guys felt that was you're most comfortable with that. Awesome, not a problem. We'll continue with that format. I will say, however, the intro video that will be released probably on Monday for Monster Hunter Iceborne is going to be we wanted to test the ultra wide 4K experience, so the intro itself is actually exactly that. It's in ultra wide and it's in 4K, but that is going to be the only time you're going to see that. And again, it's just a test. We had plans to test that kind of how is it going to look and everything beforehand, before we mentioned the poll. And when you guys came back, again, a majority of you guys said 1080 with 60, perfectly fine, awesome. So the primary videos for Iceborne are going to be in the same format as the base game was, but don't be surprised, just a quick heads up, the intro is going to be in the 4K ultra wide. But I think a lot of you guys are going to appreciate it because we've really been focusing on community development for the channel and for the Meta Hunter brand and idea and our specific ideology for it. And you guys are actually featured in the trailer, and I'll leave that to speculation as to what you guys think that is. But we wanted to really make it seem community focused. You see a lot of content creators nowadays say that we're making it community focused, but you probably hear your favorite streamers all the time say that, but they're not able to actually have a full conversational piece with you. And that's something we really wanted to highlight. We want to make you guys feel more welcomed, feel more a part of the channel, because Celestia herself is a character based on the hunter when they first start. She is not supposed to resemble a professional hunter or the constant, the most base meta build that you can think of, the TASer for speed hunting, the legendary hunter. That's not what she's never been designed for that purpose. She was purposely designed for a hunter coming of age and growing through the years. You're growing the way she would. She is not the best hunter ever, even being half Wyverian. She isn't. She's not the best hunter. She's supposed to resemble what you and I were when we were first hunting, and then how we improved over the years, how we got used to it, how we adapted to our environment, how we kept growing as adults and as human beings as this time goes on. So that's what she's supposed to represent. She's the underdog, and we're hoping to be able to constantly focus on that aspect of her, because that's incredibly important. Again, I'm not the best hunter myself. I'm going to be the first one to admit it. I've done some crazy things. The handle, the old school MH1 handle with care, with no armor, no mega drink, nothing. I'm kind of a nihilist in some things, and I've done hunts. I mean, slaying the White Fatalis, that's a challenge even with armor. But I've fought my fair share of tough monsters for sure. Gen 1 Plessy is, whew, lord, that is still one monster I will not pull punches with. That guy may as well be an Elder Dragon, for Christ's sake. But yeah, I mean, she's not supposed to represent anything other than the underdog and the hunter coming of age. That's why her story is built on such a basis. That's why she is who she is. She's slightly arrogant. She's still, trying to find herself, and as you guys know, trying to find her brother. The journey's still continuing. So we're going to be fleshing out a lot more details and really, really hitting the story points come Iceborne. And I actually just now forgot what I was saying before I mentioned everything. Before the topic swapped over to Celestia. Shit. Kind of sucks. Oh, I cursed. Oh well. But yeah. So we want to make you guys more involved in the channel. And at some point, I know we're going to be having videos to where, you guys can hunt with me. or you guys can hunt with the missus. You know, she saw me play World a bit, and she helped with the story and the plot telling, because getting a woman's perspective to actually sit down and be a part of the storytelling is incredibly important. Because as a guy, I mean, I can't really speak for Celestia, if that makes sense. I can't say what she would do in this situation, so getting a full-fledged woman's perspective as to how she would handle this situation, or how she feels Celestia should approach this situation, or, you know, just getting that kind of women's intuition has been incredibly helpful. I have my wife to thank for a lot of things, not just giving birth to our son. Give me 1 second. Delicious. I'm telling you guys, orange juice over ice, the drink of the heavens. If it's completely natural, oh my god. But yeah, we want to make you guys more involved in the channel. So at some point, I know we're going to be retouching on live streaming. We're definitely going to be doing a little bit more group hunting. I would love to hear you guys. I would love to see you guys do some hunts with Celestia. Maybe really build this into a Meta Hunters guild per se. That's always been a kind of dream of mine, playing the old school MH games, and, you know, playing World. And by the way, World, I think, is, oh goodness, is this, a lot of you guys said when I was playing MH2 that you need to play World. You guys kept on harking it, you kept on pushing it, you said just give it a shot. I am so happy we did. We did for multiple reasons, because, I mean, the game's, what, 2 years old now? So, and because of this, how many sales this game got, oh my god, it would not surprise me if World 2 is coming, for sure. With that knowledge, well, with that speculation knowledge, World 2 is going to be coming, so we figured, you know, before we touched, and I know going back that 3U won the poll for the next Monster Hunter game after 2. 3U is still coming for sure, but I'm so happy we touched World. I gotta be honest, this game is something else. The simplified process of, you know, oversimplifying the items and just magnifying the vast ecosystem, the environment, making the fights feel more alive. The official review for this game, from my perspective, will be out after Iceborne for sure, because I want to finish the entire game before I come to my full conclusion. But let's just say for now, if I had to do a tier list of Monster Hunter games, this is up there. This is up there for sure. I can speak so much good for this game. They nailed the next gen Monster Hunter experience, in my opinion. That's coming from an older HR20 guy. If I'm saying it, it's good. But so hold on, let's get to some questions before I keep rambling on. My apologies, guys. I don't mean to. I know some of you guys mentioned that you watch these type of videos at work for the background noise, and hey, shout outs to you guys. Just be careful, don't get fired or anything else like that. But seriously, thank you so much. Honestly, thank all of you Meta Hunters. Seriously, thank you so much for your support. You guys are incredible. But let's get to some questions that I can answer. And I did say, and just so we are aware, guys, gals, please, if you can, feel free to ask me any questions regarding personal hobbies, which I think that's one of the questions that I jotted down. Personal hobbies outside of Monster Hunter, how's being a father, what careers did you do? Because I've been all around. Like I said, I taught English in Shanghai. I taught English in Shanghai. I did that for a little bit. I've done so much throughout my life. Like my career, if anybody ever got a chance to see my personal resume, I've been all over. I've worked for a digital media company out in Brooklyn, New York. Sorry, that's New York. That's the accent coming out. I did digital media for a company in Brooklyn, New York. I've done things with Guinness. I've done things in if you're a fan of esports or competitive gaming, I've done things in that field for a little bit. I've done so much, honestly. I can tell you all my different life experiences. I've done manual physical labor for many years. Actually, my first job at like 13, I did quite a lot of labor, 13 through 17, 18. And then I did a little bit of retail for a couple years. I did some law enforcement for a little bit, at least law enforcement training. So I've been all around the block. You can ask me anything. So let's get to some questions, though. So first question is from Alexander Mesquita. I hope I am pronouncing that correctly. Are you going to do more walkthroughs and gameplay than the old series like MHG, Try, Portable Third? Absolutely. We do the games based on Celestia's lore, and when we did MH2, before we touched World, we took I think it was almost a month, a month completely off to kind of prepare for how we were going to expand upon Celestia's lore and whatnot. The next game after World is completed is going to be 3U, which at that point, let's see, there's going to be a year difference between World's base game being completed, which I'm pretty sure Celestia is 24 or 25 at this point. So in Iceborne, she's going to be at least between 25, 26 years old. So again, everything is based on her lore and how we want to develop her. So yeah, she is an actual person that kind of ages over time, and it's incredibly important that we get the storyline correct, because that is critical to her development. So, and obviously she's the vocal piece of the entire plot. You know, we want to see her grow up and for her to experience life outside of hunting at some point. You know, that also brings up a question: will she be the main character throughout the entirety of the series? You know, because she is aging. At some point, you'd figure the hunter may retire, which at that point, what happens? And we haven't gotten to that point yet, but I assure you she's going to be the primary character, at least probably up until 4U. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't gotten that far yet. So, but yes, we do plan on 3U is going to be after Iceborne. It's going to be 3U, and then after 3U, we'll probably do another poll, because I know Freedom Unite would be a good game. We actually had an idea to, instead of maybe Celestia be the main character, if we're going to touch Freedom Unite, we are thinking about doing it of her uncle as the main character in his younger days, so the actual huntsman himself, and showcasing how it was during his time of hunting and what was his lore, because that's an awesome character, by the way. The huntsman is fantastic. Capcom, thank you. You gave us a character that we can actually build another lore on top of our main character and kind of incorporate him into her life and everything, and it was just fantastic. It worked out great. But that's something that we're kind of pondering and playing around with back and forth, because I think it would be great to actually showcase, well, how was Celestia's uncle as a hunter way back in the day when, you know, before the events of Castle Strayed, when Castle Strayed was basically taken over and overrun by, the Calamity Eater, Fatalis and everything. So it all depends. It really depends. But we probably won't do Try. We'll probably skip that. I don't know if we're going to do Freedom 1 and Freedom 2, but I could for sure say 3U, 4U, probably Generations Ultimate. That's probably going to get done. And then the next Monster Hunter base game. Don't think we're going to do stories, but I may play that as just a side series, I guess. Really depends. But, Portable Third, for sure will get touched. Kind of thinking about, again, we have to take it game by game and then go from there. So we'll see, but for sure, we plan on walkthroughing every MH game possible. So hopefully by the time we get done with 3U, maybe World 2 is gonna get announced, and then you know, we'll get to experience this kind of gameplay again. It's awesome stuff. Thank you, Mr. Alexander. Jojo the Hobo asks. Great name, by the way. Great name. Oh god. What's your favorite monster in the series, and for what reason? I'll give you a hint. So take a look at the Meta Hunters theme of color, and the colors also actually have meaning, or the different, you know, the blue, the white, and the green actually represent something. And maybe when the website's finally out and about, we will be able to expand upon that just a little bit, like why did we design the logo the way we did, and you know, go from there. But I'll give you a hint. What monster is that coloration specifically? And I'll give you a hint, it's not a subspecies, or it's not a deviant, subspecies, or anything else like that. I'll give you 5 seconds. Take a hint. It's pretty easy, honestly. Did you guess it? If you said Lagiacaras, you're wrong. But, I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys didn't say that one. Brachydios. Brachydios, it is. Brachydios is my favorite monster in all of Monster Hunter. I love that guy. The slime, let me tell you how overpowered slime was in 3U. That was overpowered. That element was overpowered. It was so ridiculous. Combined with, I believe it was Bombardier gems, forget it. You would have a golden time. But my favorite monster is Brachydios. Why? Because he resembles the fighting spirit. I love the moveset. I love the environmental damage he does. I love everything about the coloration, everything. Brachydios is... Now, I'm Puerto Rican. Well, I'm Puerto Rican, French, Canadian, a little bit of Haitian, and I'm a mix. I'm a mutt myself. But in Puerto Rico, one of the biggest sports we have is boxing. So it just makes perfect sense that I'd be so attached to this guy. Anytime I get to fight Brachydios, it's always a pleasure. I love fighting that guy. It's just my favorite. The armor set, even the non-master rank or the G rank armor sets of Brachydios are really, really fun. Super beautiful. Makes you look like a Decepticon or something, I don't know. But the females always get the better armor sets. So, Brachydios, for sure. I love 3U. 3U is one of my favorite Monster Hunter games for a while. One of my favorites. But it just makes sense. 3U, Brachydios, and I'm very curious, what is your favorite monsters from any game? Please, it could be anything from like White Fatalis or Lagiacados, who I think is very underrated. I would love to see Laggy come back in some way, shape, or form. What's my most hated monster? Gen 1 Plessy. I don't think it was that kind of much of a surprise, but Gen 1 Plessy or Daimyo Hermitar. Not because Daimyo's not bad, but Gen 1 Plessy, oh my god, just... It's like you're asking for it. And then fighting a green Plessy is like, oh god. But strangely enough, I was kind of surprised they didn't put Plessy in World, honestly. I was looking forward to kind of fighting him. Instead, I got Laviosath and the other guy. But hey, beggars can't be choosers. But yeah, Brachydios, fun monster. And again, I'm very curious to know what your favorite monster is. Please leave a comment down below what's your favorite monster and why. But thank you, Jojo. Pleasure. Always a pleasure replying to your comments as well. Next question is by Me. What's your favorite area in Monster Hunter series and why? As in the Coral Highlands, jungle, etc. So this is kind of a tough one because I'm a big fan of Castle Shrade and the lore behind that area, and I wish that they expanded upon that a little bit more. Hopefully in MH World 2 we get to go back to the Kokoto region, Mine Guard, and see how it developed over the years. Maybe even revisit Poke, where the Huntsman is from, and you know, just the old whatchamacallit, the old world areas. I know that in Generations Ultimate you can actually go back and revisit them. The wife mentioned that to me, but I think they give you very limited access as to where you can go. It's not like you can go to Minegard, but if I had to choose what my favorite area to hunt in is, it's actually the swamp from MH1. Why? Because it was such an ominous area. I think the general ambience of that area was so well done, and the cave, you know, where you eventually fight Kezu, like Gen 1 Kezu, Jusiperos. I just thought it was a perfect area, and obviously the Bullfanga were there as well. But I loved it. What was it? What was the Rathalos and Rathian quest from back in the day? I think it was the Hunting Pair or something like that. Very, very tough quest. But I just love the old swamp, and the old swamp actually reminds me of one of my other favorite games of all time, which is Final Fantasy XI. Specifically Cardate. I don't know if any of you guys played that MMO, but if you do, maybe you'll recall the expansion Treasures of Odd Urgen, and if so, do you remember the area Cardava Mire? Hopefully I'm getting some guys noggin joggins here, but Cardava Mire was one of my favorite areas because I was always a blue mage. That was my primary class in Final Fantasy XI. I love that MMO. God, I could tell you anything about that game. I played it so much. Jesus, but I'm going off topic here. But yeah, it just reminded me. Look up pictures on Google of Final Fantasy XI Cardava Mire, and then look up MH1 Swamp, and you can see why I would like it so much. The ambiance, the sense of danger, the sense of there's so many obstacles around you, there's so much everything that you have to pay attention to, is absolutely fantastic. And I feel like that is one of the best kind of old school areas that really trains you to be a hunter, that really emphasizes a lot on safety and knowing what's around you at all times. And I carry that. Like, it just looks so well done. But there's quite a lot of good areas in the Monster Hunter universe. World has a lot of good freaking looking areas. Coral Highlands themselves was beautiful. I was going to say the Abyss. It's not the Abyss, but the under region of the Coral Highlands is also extremely well done. In fact, probably one of the best areas they've come out in a long time. Very well done, well crafted. It fit the storyline perfectly, and the monsters down there are just absolutely fantastic, like completely fun to fight. And the effigy as the environmental hazard, again, is just fuck. Everything in this game is so well done. I can't even begin to say, but hopefully that makes sense to some of you. But yeah, I really like the old MH1 swamp areas. I just think it was so ominous. You've got a lot going on, and it's just incredible. It's good stuff. What's your favorite areas? Alternatively, you know, well, what areas did you guys like hunting in? Because really, there's so many of them. I didn't like hunting in a lot of areas in MH4U because I felt that it was, I don't know, it was like that fall autumn kind of setting that really doesn't blend with me. I'm more of a spring summer guy, so 3U really nailed it in terms of the tropical environments. But yeah, I'm very curious as to what some of your favorite areas are. Sorry, gonna take another small wig here. Hopefully some of you guys are not getting plastered with me. But happy 4th of July still. Delicious. So another question I have here is, what are the hobbies outside of Monster Hunter? Well, being a father. That's the best hobby you can get. Being a father, being a husband, doing things with the wife, you really don't get a lot of time nowadays. I gotta be honest. Doing these types of videos, so how we do the video uploading now is usually when we're starting a series, we do one video. The intro video will be one episode, the Kickstarter episode, if you will, for that 1 week, and then you may get another episode, you may not, for that one, for the introduction week, and then the next week we start kicking it off, the primary episodes, or the actual consistency. So we do uploads on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and we try to get them out before I want to say it was before 6 p.m. I think 6 p.m. EST. So we specifically have a set schedule to where I do a lot of the gameplay recording, recording and editing process, which I do all the records. I do a batch recording session on Friday nights, as when I finally get off from work. I do it, and little man, he's asleep, he's settled down, you finally get some time to yourselves. So I do a batch of recording on Friday, do maybe 4 or 5 episodes, do all the editing either on Saturday or Sunday, just really depends on what the day brings, because usually on Saturday I'm taking certification training. I'm doing a lot of testing and different certification training in a lot of different kind of fields and whatnot, as part of some requirements of my current field of expertise, and then others I'm just taking just to do, just because, hey, why not? Free training is always good, by the way. For any of you guys that are career hunting or job searching, any little bit of training you can do it, even if it's not in your relative field. Like, my field of studies technically is information technology. That's what I went to college for. And I'm not doing anything related to information technology. Well, some of it is, but then most of it actually is in a different field altogether. But I'm doing it regardless because it's just resume. Everything on that portfolio is good stuff. So take it from me, do everything you can. Especially if your job or whatever is providing free training, take it. Just do it. So with that being said, let's see, Saturday or Sunday is the whole big editing day. Now, each video takes at least one video, if I don't get interrupted or I have a free little bit of time. Each video takes roughly an hour to do, editing wise, audio adjustments, different filter colorations and whatnot. I like to make the visuals pop out a little bit more, so we usually try to figure out what filter looks good and then edit, the gamma and that kind of stuff. So each episode takes, let's say, an hour, so that's like close. I would say if we're doing 5 episodes, it probably takes no more than 2-3 hours. But then you have to do the custom do the thumbnail, so that's Photoshop. So then that means an additional 30-40 minutes to get it right, to figure out the title, and then the storytelling perspective, and that takes a long time. So myself and the missus, we bounce around concepts and ideas, and she gives me her perspective as to like what would Celestia kind of do in this situation, just given by her personality and everything. And we blueprint and jot down all ideas, everything that comes to our mind that is relative to that video. We just jot everything down and go from there. And I would say a batch videos for the week probably takes a good 6 hours to complete. So I only have maybe 2 hours of free time a day, so it takes at least the whole weekend to do that. And then let's say we get all that done on a Saturday, then that means Sunday is the big uploading day. So all the videos usually get uploaded on Sunday. That way you guys, it's easy. It's as easy as putting them on uploading them, doing the title and all that, putting them on unlisted, and then releasing them each episode for the week. So that's kind of how we're currently doing things, and it's been working out really, really well so far. Hopefully you guys are appreciative of that consistency, and hopefully that's been, it's right up your alley. You guys, you guys think we're nailing it, hitting it out of the ballpark and doing that. Seriously, thank you guys, for everybody that watches the videos. Seriously, thank you. So that's kind of how we're currently doing things. It's subject to change, but for right now, it's kind of where we're at, and it's working out really well. So, hobbies outside of gaming. Oof. I like to study up on different cultures and ethnicities. I do actually, I study different languages. I've traveled around the world a little bit. Like I said, lived in China for a little bit. I've lived in the Caribbean for a little bit. So I just love learning cultures, different societies, and everything else that I can. If I'm not learning something new every day, I'm getting worse, in my opinion. That's just kind of how it is. But I'm a big sports guy. Love my football, love the American pigskin, and I'm talking American football. Big fan of the New York Giants. I've been a fan of those guys ever since I was a kid. Dating back to the good old days. But I'm a big football fan. I do watch some soccer, mostly the MLS, the American Soccer League. If you were to ask me what my favorite team there would be, I'd probably say Montreal Impact. As lame as that may be. I watch the Canadian Football League, Canadian American Football League, I should say, and I'm a big fan of the Montreal Alouettes. Trying to think. If I'm watching the Premier League, who would it be? I was a fan of West Ham United for a little bit, but then I decided to swap to, what's the worst team? I think they're green and yellow, and I like them just because they're underdogs. They suck, but I like them. I think it's Tottenham. Maybe it is. No. Maybe it's Norwich. I can't remember the name. Sorry, guys. But, good fan of those guys. They're pretty fun. Pretty fun to root for the underdog. Again, I love the underdog. I never root for the number one team, but I do root for underdogs. I don't watch basketball too much, but if I had to be a fan, it would be a fan of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Kind of an odd choice, but I like their colors, and I've always been a fan of them. Well, a fan of them when I'm watching basketball, let me put it that way. I don't watch much in terms of NASCAR, golf. Trying to think. Baseball. Whew, this is a big one. My wife is a big fan of baseball. Oh my god. She's a huge fan of baseball. I guess to be expected. She is Korean, and Korean Baseball League is actually very big. In terms of Korean baseball, we're a fan of the Busan Giants. I don't know if they're called that, or the Busan Giants, whichever it is, but the Giants. And in terms of the American baseball, she's a fan of the Texas Rangers. I'm not. I'm a fan of the New York Mets. And I laugh every time the 4th of July, fun story. We went to 2 years ago, we went to the 4th of July, the annual 4th of July game that, the Texas Rangers have in Arlington, and I think I was the only one wearing anything New York related, and everybody looked at me like as if I was crazy, like son, do you know where you are? And I'm like, yeah, I know where I am. I'm just kind of here to troll a little bit, but but she's a fan of the Texas Rangers, and of course the Rangers blew it as they usually do, and Houston won, so shout outs to Houston. But I mean, they were just recently in a big major cheating scandal, and of course they get to keep the ring. It is what it is. But for baseball, I'm definitely a Mets fan. I've always been a Mets fan. And that's probably not even, if we end up relocating to Texas, that's not going to go anywhere. I love my New York teams. I always try to support them. But I'm a big fan of sports, big fan of gaming in general. I do play first-person shooters. Like I said, I worked in the esports industry for a little bit, and specifically the fighting game community, or the FGC. There's a good chance I probably know if you guys watch competitive gaming, I probably know somebody that you've watched, or I've met them, or, had a project with them at some point. Back in the day, I used to do Let's Playing. Fun fact, I actually have met quite a few of the old school, older, big generation Let's Players, like the pre-2010 people, like the real old school generation. I actually met quite a few of them at a few different conventions, and got to speak with those guys. Lovely people. guys like Nintendo Capri Sun, Luka Jin. Shoot, I still remember when Luka Jin was gonna do the big Let's Player collab stream. I think that's what it was called. And God, jeez, I'm dating myself here. I don't know if any of you guys would recall some of those old Let's Players, but I've dabbled in Let's Play a little bit back in the day, but I never took it really seriously because I was always working so much. It's kind of been the story of our life as it is. But other than that, man, foreign politics is interesting. Flag designs is interesting. I'm kind of just an all-around kind of guy. I can talk about a lot of different subjects. Really just depends. I'm not an introvert. I'm actually a very outgoing person. I love just talking about whatever, learning about different cultures and languages and societies and everything. Languages I can speak would be Chinese, Mandarin, and Cantonese. Not on a professional business level, but I can speak it. A little bit of Indonesian, a little bit of Portuguese, and obviously American English, because, yeah, it's the number one language. Gonna take another swig here. So, I'm kind of all around, all over the place. If you have a hobby, chances are, I'd be interested. But I'm interested to know. I mean, again, a lot of this video's conversation pieces were just kind of on me, but I'd like it to be on you guys. Please feel free to share a little bit about yourselves. I'm very much so. We are very much so interested in getting to know more about the meta hunters and you guys, and your accomplishments and everything. I think it'd be great. One of the last questions I have is, what was it like dating a Korean? Okay. So this wasn't actually requested in the actual comment or the one poll itself. But what's it like dating a Korean? Same thing as it is dating any other woman. Honest to God, it's like you date a woman because you have interest in each other. Or you date whatever, even if you're dating a guy or whatever the case may be, whatever is your interest, and I could tell you honestly, because I know yellow fever is a thing for a lot of my brothers out there. I know you guys will probably agree with me. Ever since K-pop took over in 2014, ever since that became a thing, shoot, it's been a lot of Asian craze. I can tell you it was a wonderful experience. I wouldn't change it for the world. Fun fact, we actually met in New York through a friend. I was on a business trip and we just kind of met and hit it off, for lack of a better term. She's not from Seoul. She's actually from Busan, so the second largest metropolitan in South Korea. And yeah, our son's half Korean and half Spanish and quite a few other different things. Best piece of advice I can give is when you're dating, be confident. Be very, very confident and, just know what you want. There's nothing greater to a woman than a man that knows what he wants and knows what he's trying to accomplish. The best part about life is you have to be able to complement each other because if you're committing to each other, you have to be able to back her up and she has to be able to back you up, and having a confident woman alongside yourself is a big accomplishment. So for my single gentlemen out there that I know you guys are kind of on your grind and you're doing your thing, it's not always about money, man. It's about your presentation, how you are, and be confident. Show the girl a good time, but be within reason and be very respectful. Be a gentleman. I was raised more traditionally, and that worked out for me. And we've been married since 2014, so it's been wonderful. But I can tell you, it's not much different from dating an Arabic woman or dating an American gal. I mean, obviously cultural differences, sure, but when it boils down to it, she's a woman, you're a man, or vice versa. Or you're a man and a man, or you're a woman and you're a woman, whatever. you know, love who you love, man, and go from there. But I can give a lot more in-depth advice, but the best piece of advice I can give in terms of how it is dating a Korean woman, it's wonderful. So, with all that being said, I want to say thank you everybody for all your comments. Thank you for your questions, and please, for the next Calamity Canteen, please leave more questions. We'll do a poll, and we'll see how the video does. Hopefully, I wasn't rambling too much into your guys' ears, at least in that regard. But before the video closes, I do have quite a few different sets of updates regarding the channel and where we're going. So myself and the missus are very heavily invested in setting up a custom apparel shop, as well as a custom Meta Hunters website and everything else like that. We have kind of a rough idea of a tier list of I guess, what is it, a monthly subscription thing that you can do? Damn, YouTube is crazy, man. I remember YouTube from like 2006. In fact, I remember YouTube before YouTube. And many different websites. Oh my god, I'm dating myself here a little bit. Forgive me. But so we have a very awesome kick-ass subscription tier list for you guys, the Meta Hunters. I think it's called sub-only badges or whatever the hell they're called. But we have ones that are currently being designed. The concept and everything is being handled by an artist I trust completely. I think she's gonna nail the concepts, nail everything out of the ballpark. So that's gonna be something. There is gonna be a custom Meta Hunters apparel shop, which again is also being handled by the same person who, again, she's kind of an all-around excellent designer. I trust her completely. And you guys are going to love the designs. They're not just like, how do I say? Unfortunately, I feel like a lot of content creators are kind of lazy. I hate to say it, but I feel like a lot of them are, in which case they just kind of throw a logo on a shirt, like on a Teespring shirt, and then call it a day. You know, there's a few streamers that do it right, in which case they get creative and they have fun with it, and that's kind of where we're going with it. There's a lot of interesting designs we have on the table, but we're gonna be, you know, releasing them slow and go from there. And we would love your feedback when the apparel gets officially released. Please give us your feedback on what you guys feel is just like kick ass, because this is gonna be some real deal stuff, and we are making absolutely sure the quality is good. It's stuff that you can wear out in the streets. I say that. It's just funny. Coming from an East Coaster, that's funny saying that. But, you know, something that you can wear in New York and be, like, comfortable in. Like, that's my gold bar. Like, that's the bar, the set standard that we have. So we are going all out in terms of the apparel. We're unsure when the sub badges and the apparel are going to get released, but it's coming. Stuff like that is coming. Official artwork for Celestia herself is also going to be coming up pretty soon. Again, we have a different designer, a digital artist working on that, and you know, actually bring Celestia to life a little bit more. I have a friend actually that works in the manga industry, and I thought about commissioning him for a piece, but right now I know he's busy. He's based in Tokyo at the moment, and unfortunately he's just a little busy, but I mean, I know some of you guys are like, damn, you know a lot of people, don't you? That's kind of what happens when you work all over the world for a little bit. You get to know a lot of faces. But I thought about commissioning him for this, but I felt like for the time being and with everything going on, he's already busy as is. So maybe one day we'll get an official manga illustration for her. So that'd be pretty freaking dope. An actual like manga of like her old journeys, dude, that'd be awesome. But apparel, sub badges, and channel emotes are going to be a thing. Like I said, I would like to do a little bit more live streams of just like casual hunting, invite you guys, maybe, you know, plan something with you guys to come hunt with me, or, you know, experience. By the way, we appreciate the advice you guys have been giving for a lot of the monsters. Drake Petty, you're one. Jojo, you're another one, and quite a few others. I can't. Sorry, those are the two that primarily come up. I think. Oh, jeez, what was your name, bud? I forgot. I'm so sorry. But a lot of you guys have been giving us advice in terms of like certain monsters and what to expect and what to do, or it's just a lot of general advice because we aren't spoiling ourselves. We're kind of taking the game step by step, and we sincerely appreciate the advice you guys have been giving. Seriously, I know Master Rank is a very big difficulty hike, and it's like if I face the Gen 1 Plessy, I can face anything. Drake, I know you mentioned B52, Bezel Gu, I think is how you would traditionally say his name, because there's some French in there, if I'm correct. Have you ever seen a Bezel Gu, a Bezel Ge defeated with no armor? That's all I'm going to say on that. I like challenge hunts. God, I love challenge hunts. There again, I'm not a professional hunter by no means, but some guys there's some monsters I take completely seriously, and then there's other monsters where it's like, nah. If it's Gen 1 Plessy, I'm going all out. I'm not playing any games with that one. But if it's like Rajong or Brachydios, I'm already used to fighting them, so it's like, bring it. That's why I'm really looking forward to Alatrion, because of his different modes and how aggressive he can be. And I saw his one what is the move? The special move. I think it's called Judgment or something like that. I'm like, I saw the trailer and I was like, bring it. This isn't White Fatalis. Bring it. Super excited. But thank you guys so much for the advice. By the way, a lot of the times, believe it or not, the wife is actually responding to a lot of your comments. So there's a good chance sometimes, nowadays especially, because it's both of us together working on this, to make this an official business, she actually is the one responding to the comments more than I am. Again, we're really making this into a husband and wife collab while making this feel like an actual community. Again, we want to get to know about you guys. We want to get to know you guys more personally, and just whatever information, because I know it's very interesting. Nowadays, we're kind of like in the digital social media era, where a lot of you, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure a lot of you guys like watch streamers and spend a lot of time in, watching streams and stuff like that. But the social interaction from a psychological standpoint, from what I'm seeing, is not all there. And I feel like more streamers need to take more responsibility. More of us as content creators need to take more responsibility in making not our viewers, because you're not just viewers, making you guys feel more welcomed and a part of something. Because why else would you work so hard on video series and projects? I mean, look at what we do, and doing walkthroughs is a dying art. It has been since 2010. Let's Playing, the whole dynamic of Let's Playing changed. I remember back in the day, there used to be an unsolicited rule that when a new game came out, all Let's Players nobody could touch that game for at least 2 to 3 weeks. That was a rule that every Let's Player followed. Once 2010 hit, that was it. Like, that rule didn't exist anymore. God, I'm dating myself here. But, maybe some of you older gentlemen, maybe you guys will remember what I'm talking about. Maybe. But for you younger guys, you may not remember. There used to be a lot more rules. Becoming a YouTube partner back in the day was like a big thing. Back in the day, we could only upload like 10-minute videos. Now all of a sudden, you can upload however long you want. You can have chapters. You can do so much, man. I get it. YouTube has changed, and they've changed some things for the better and then some things for the worse, but you can't knock the platform. It's really good, honestly, for what it is and for what it does to elevate people's livelihoods. It doesn't get much better, my honest opinion. And that's even coming from me, and I don't agree with everything YouTube has done over the years. But, hey, you adapt. You adapt to the contour. But yeah, we want to make you guys feel more a part of the community at large, of more of being a meta hunter and doing what we do best. We hunt. So we got a lot in store planned for you guys, and unfortunately it's taking a little bit longer. I know that we mentioned a website, an official website of meta hunters, and like what would it feature, like reviews, guides. I know some of you guys have been eagerly waiting for me to do a video of how to play Monster Hunter 1 and 2. And I know 99% of you guys are going to go the emulation route, because good luck finding a retail copy of MH2. eBay, you may have better chances, but that game's going to call... I mean, people try to sell that game for like $300, something crazy. So that video has been worked on. It is not complete, but I have to be very careful. I have to be very, very careful as to how do I advertise this and showcase it, because it is an emulated game, and if you don't own it, there's a lot of gray area and gray tape for that video specifically. But I do want to say we have worked on it. It is still there, but we have to be very careful, if that makes sense. We have to tread these waters very carefully, especially nowadays, because you just never know. But it is there. I still remember it. Yeah, I still remember the process into how, what to do and how to access certain hunts. That's all still there. So that's still there, guys. Trust me, it'll come. But we have to be very careful as to how we approach that one. And I'll take one final swig here. Please forgive me. Throat's starting to dry up, so you'll forgive me. I've been blabbing in your ear for way too long as is. But we have a lot of exciting things coming from the channel, definitely in the future. Like I said, a little bit more on the live streaming, definitely a lot more on the storytelling and lore aspect, and maybe someday incorporating your characters into the lore. Maybe when we finally start to do those group hunts and group sessions, that we'll finally be able to maybe expand upon it, Celestia's adventures, just a little bit more, involve you guys a little bit more. And I think that's very important, at least to me, because I want to make you guys feel a part of something, the proper way, in my honest opinion. What else did I have to talk about for this episode? What else? Bezel guys, some monsters from the base game that weren't featured are definitely going to be featured in Iceborne, so don't worry about that. And what else? My goodness. I think that's really about it. I think we can finally wrap up the first official video of Calamity Canteen. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for listening. Hopefully this video is very insightful and interesting. Again, I apologize incredibly that I've been blabbing in your ear for so long. Hopefully this was just background noise for you guys and gals, because I know content creators, we tend to stay curtained, for lack of a better term. We tend to stay closed doors and not have much social interaction. Like, some of my favorite content creators, I'll name two. Luis Chow, who is my original favorite YouTube inspiration. He was a big Resident Evil guy. In fact, if you were around back in YouTube 2006, he was huge. He was a big inspiration for me, and I only got to talk to him, I think, one time, and that was it. And then my second favorite content creator on this platform, who still does content to this day, is a guy by the name of Dark Kafka. If you're into Let's Players, you'll remember him. And I remember him from like forums. I remember him from like GameFAQs, along with guys like Split Playthrough and everything. And he's been one of my favorites for a while, and I loved his personality. Kind of an oddball at times, kind of a weeb, big anime guy at times, but he's super down to earth, super chill, and incredibly fun, man. So to wrap it up, everybody, stay safe. Stay safe in these incredibly trying times. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully my voice doesn't sound like a croaked frog by this point. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you to all the meta hunters, all of you guys. Please support all of the Monster Hunter community, not just us, but support your favorite Monster Hunter creators out there. And you know, just let's keep the community strong, man, because Monster Hunter is pretty much one of the greatest gaming communities you could find. Like little to no toxicity, if that, and just all around great group of people to speak with, to bounce ideas, and to talk about old times and stuff like that, to kick back and chill. And hopefully that's what this video did, because you know, obviously outside updates. But thank you guys so much for watching, and we will catch you next week bright and early for the official intro to Monster Hunter Iceborne. I'm looking forward to the challenges ahead, and I cannot wait to take them on, as I'm sure Celestia herself is incredibly ready for any challenge upcoming, and finally get to expand upon the girl's lore once more. Take care, everybody. Stay safe, and Estrada da Estrella. Peace, guys. Take care.